Hello, everybody. I would like to introduce you to Marcela Shine. She is our head of community here at Ureeka, where we ignite your business potential through our 12-step program. Marcela has been CEO and COO of venture-backed companies and an angel investor. Welcome, Marcela. We would love to hear from you today about Ureeka and what we do here.
Thank you so much, everyone. Welcome. Today, I'm going to be talking about 12 essential steps to business growth. I'm just going to share my screen and get started. We would welcome any questions as we're speaking. Christy, let me know if you see my screen. Christy, can you see it?
Yes, I see your screen.
Great, thank you. Well, welcome, everyone. Today, I want to talk about the 12 steps that Ureeka has created as a roadmap to build your business for growth. Many of you that are in startups or entrepreneurs running small businesses know that there are so many challenges and limits to how we run our businesses, particularly if you are a young entrepreneur and don't have the experience. We believe that there's 5 things that you have to do correctly in order for your business to be successful, and they're not independent. They come together, okay? Defining the audience, making sure that your messaging is succinct, that it's resonating with your potential audience, driving them to your home or your website, and then ensuring that those website mechanics are working, not only for your audience, right, but for Google and for yourself so that you're keeping up with it on an ongoing basis. From your website, you then have the distribution of that content to your marketing channels. And of course, what we're ultimately all after is conversion. These 5 things apply whether you're doing a business to business or a business to consumer business. But startups and small business owners typically skip around because they either lack experience, access to expertise, or a roadmap to how to get this all done at the same time, right? So we have created this 12-step strategy so that there is a roadmap to accomplishing growth for your business. It starts with getting help in the thinking, the strategy, built into that go-to-market plan, and then starts to get into the execution so that your customer acquisition is working for your business. Now, in order to accomplish all this, normally you need a massive team or a lot of different vendors to coordinate this. This takes budget. It takes access to the right advisors, to the right people. So many startups are looking for those advisors and giving away equity along the way. And that's painful as an entrepreneur, right? That's painful because it's your baby and you're working to build it and kind of chipping away at it as you go along. It also takes time because you have to find the right resources and the right people. You're spending a lot of time on LinkedIn or Google and different social places looking for the right people. And that takes away from you as the founder focusing on your business. Finally, who are the people and the experts that can provide the answers along the way so that you do not feel alone or that your team doesn't feel limited to the decisions they make because they don't have a large network yet as they're building this out. So again, Ureeka is focused on getting you through this roadmap. The strategy series starts with what we call 3 circles, which gets you thinking about your messaging and your brand promise. We talk about execution in the quadrant method. And then what I think is most important is that go-to-market work. I spent over 15 years in corporate doing product marketing, and we had a focused team that thought about every single step of that product development process, how we were then going to take it to market and launch it. We don't have that at a startup, right? So this method of thinking through and starting with your messaging, then thinking about how you're going to execute on your business and driving through to go to market is a great roadmap, and that the basis for what we now move into, which is the next part of our program, customer acquisition. So we're already up 3 of the 12 steps. Now, when you are thinking through customer acquisition, I think what I've seen a lot of businesses do, and we support over 10,000 business owners at Ureeka. They build a website first, rather than think through all of the back-end pieces that make a website work, right? By building on 3 circles and doing go-to-market, you've already gotten all the messaging out of the way. You've actually written down your personas, your audience. You've chopped away all of those tiny little pieces that should make up your website so that you're communicating to your audience the right way. That's already gotten out of the way. So now by the time you get to building your website, most of the requirements are finished, right? Once your website's complete, you can start thinking about your marketing funnel, your customer mindset map, message development for what's about to happen next, which is that distribution, and applying your messaging to all of the different media channels that you have to go to. So I hope you start feeling how those 12 steps are coming together and stacking into a successful business plan and a way to execute that plan for your business. Once you complete those first pieces of your roadmap, you can start thinking about the finances and how you're going to do projections, how you're going to execute against that business plan, and so important, how you're going to measure the effectiveness of what you're doing. When you're a small team, every single thing you do matters so much, and measuring what you're learning, failing fast, taking data and applying it is really, really critical to the building of your business. And then, of course, if you plan to fundraise, you now have all of the fundamental building blocks that you need to go talk to investors, or just as importantly, go sell your product so that you have that revenue that can self-fund. Okay, so as I said earlier, these are building blocks. These are not things that happen in a vacuum. They cannot happen independently. Otherwise, it will not work. Here is an example of how this roadmap looks so that you know where you're heading with it and how it ties into the partners you need to hire or the experts you may want to bring into your team. Our entrepreneurs start with strategy. The key benefit that we have at Ureeka is the coaching that you get alongside the platform. So we have coaching for under $50 a month. You can come into our coaching programs, and seasoned entrepreneurs are there to coach you through each of these different 12 steps, give you the advice. I mentioned earlier that one of the hardest things to get is access to people and experts. So at Ureeka, we've predetermined who those experts are. We have open office hours, and our founders and our founding team are also available to give you that advice. Within the platform, we've also identified when you should start hiring. We don't want you to spend money before you need to. There's a lot of work that you can do yourself in building a successful business before you start paying. Now, hiring the right people, here we are at an event that talks about hiring and finding jobs. These key positions, your website, your SEO, your paid media, content partners, content writers, they're all very important in this journey. We just want you to understand when they fold in, and that you really have to do the thinking and prepare the strategy before you start paying people. Otherwise, you're throwing money out the window, because if you don't give them the right direction, they are not going to execute and deliver the product that you need to drive growth in your business. So you can see here, you've got your strategy down. That's all you, your advisors, your coach, your mentors. You then start getting into customer acquisition, where a lot of the execution starts to happen. And if you've got those baselines done, you can then start hiring some of those experts you may need. And then, of course, now you're moving into the financial aspects of it and measuring the success of it, which is data-driven. So if you don't have that expertise, if you don't have the bookkeeper, if you don't have someone that can help you read those numbers, that is something that you should absolutely look for as you're building out your business. Going to pause here and let you all know that if you're interested in jumping in, we welcome you into our platform for free. But if you want business coaching and support, there is an opportunity to get it at Ureeka. with that, I know I kind of sped through that quite a bit, but I wanted to stop here to see if we've got any questions as I go through here.
I actually do have a question, Marcela. Violetta would like to know, what are the main reasons businesses fail?
So Violetta, I think from what we've seen, it's primarily a lack of planning and an understanding of the budget that it takes to execute. So if we go back to that Essential series and you look at the first chunk, which is the messaging, which includes competitive analysis, and then looking at go-to-market, those three are the basic steps that I think a lot of people skip and therefore start to fail because they don't understand the timing that it might take to go to market. They don't understand what they need to test and measure before they go to market. So that initial thinking is really important. From there, it's going to be team, right? If you don't have a team that can support those 12 essential steps and have the right people in place to execute on it, beyond the great idea, execution is everything. Okay. And one of the things we do at Ureeka is we're constantly giving our members templates so that they're not guessing on how to execute. We have templates for marketing calendars. We have templates for fundraising, for pitching your business. We have places where you can go practice before you're taking it to market. So Violetta, one of the big things I see is lack of access to the right people to get these questions answered. But the planning and then the execution of that plan is one of the key things we see. Are there any other questions or any experience that any of you have? Violetta, yes. I'd have to go take a look at the numbers from, again, I'm an angel investor and we look at businesses all the time. And our expectation is that we're only going to get about 2 out of 10 potential exits out of our portfolio. Again, we're small, but that is the expectation. What we're trying to do at Ureeka is to change that number, particularly for small business owners that don't have access to Silicon Valley and don't have access to the experts that can help them succeed. A lot of times businesses run out of money, right? Again, that talks to planning and understanding the long-term plan that you have. If you don't plan on at least a 9 to 12 month cash availability when you're starting your business and you're looking at fundraising, I think it makes it really tough. I can tell you from one of my own businesses that I sold, that I sold the technology, I did not have enough runway to finish testing with my potential clients. I had 2 clients that said they were going to pay. We kept testing and testing. It didn't happen. And eventually we made the decision to just sell the technology and merge into another company because we ran out of money. So there's a lot of reasons why businesses fail. What we're trying to drive is the success, increase the success, the chances that you have of success by giving you a templated plan for that success, right? So which factor is mainly responsible for how we can build great businesses along with a great brand? So in a short time. So again, I think testing and making sure that you define your audience and that you go talk to your potential audience. Look, the gift of social media is an amazing opportunity for any entrepreneur. Unlike when I started, I'm going to date myself, when we didn't have any of these tools, we were out trying to actually do focus groups and meet with our potential audience in person. With social media, the volume of research that you can do and the feedback that you can get on your brand is it's practically in real time. So my advice here is do not launch your business without getting direct feedback from the potential audience that you're going after. Do not launch a brand and assume that you know your audience best. Go find them. right? Discover those hashtags, discover those entry points that are going to start building that idea and confirming that you do have a special niche, that you can differentiate your product or do it better than somebody else, right? Sometimes a great idea is simply a shift in how you service or how you apply something to an existing business. So it's really about confirming that your idea is valid and not assuming that you have the answer. When we do testing, even on our paid media, we go in with certain assumptions, but it's the A/B testing that gives us the answer before we go with something. Are there any other questions? Great. Well, if anybody needs mentoring or is interested in running ideas by us, please feel free to join our community. Again, starter members are able to jump in and get free office hours with our founders who have also venture-backed history, Silicon Valley, Google, Facebook. We have all been in startups and have actually run businesses. So as young entrepreneurs that are either thinking about joining a startup and want to go in with a knowledge base that will help you apply some of this methodology into your company, right? This isn't just for entrepreneurs, but for those of you that are going to go work in startups or technology or for small businesses, come learn from us. You can take our classes. You can participate in live conversations, a lot like this one, at absolutely no cost to you except your time, which is really important. But we do have weekly events that will help you learn and facilitate a plan for success for your business. My biggest takeaway for all of you is do not wing it. There are so many of us out there willing to mentor and give you a roadmap for success. So if you're doing it alone, and if you're not seeking answers from this greater community of entrepreneurs and startups, you're missing out. You're missing out and you're wasting time. So I will leave you with that advice. If nobody has any other questions, you know where to find us. And I hope to see some of you inside of our own community, or ping me on LinkedIn if you have any questions. I would be thrilled to answer them for you. Christy, I think that's a wrap. I kind of ran through it quickly to be mindful of everybody's time.
That was perfect. Thank you so much. It was wonderful having you here, Marcela. We are so grateful. And I love being a part of Ureeka, and I'm so glad you were able to share that message and
Christy,
talk about what we do here at Ureeka.
What do you think the biggest takeaway is from the coaching? Because I think a lot of people don't understand that coaching is so accessible and affordable. What do you see as a big takeaway from young entrepreneurs that are coming into our coaching?
Yeah, of course. I think one of the biggest pieces, or two big pieces of feedback that I get, number one is how lonely being an entrepreneur is, and that Ureeka and the coaches help to take away that feeling that you're kind of out there on an island and you don't know even which way to swim to shore. And so I think that's big, is that you have someone that's standing on the shoreline, waving hands and saying, it's this way. We've got everything you need over here. So I think that's one of the big ones, is just talking about loneliness and getting the resources that you need. And I think part two is, especially with coaches, is taking what seems like so much information, right? So you've gone from this island into this big city of knowledge. And again, the coaches are there to say, okay, don't throw your marketing money budget away until you've really defined your audience. And so it's really doing that coaching to say, okay, yes, you do need to do a marketing budget, but this is how you do it in a step-by-step way that's going to be successful and not waste your time or your money, because typically entrepreneurs, small businesses do not have a lot of that. Yeah, so I think those are the two. Yeah.
And then this week's Join the Conversation is coming up next week, is the LinkedIn.
That's correct.
Yeah. So come and join us if you want to figure out how to get LinkedIn to work for you and your business. We're doing that on Thursday. Again, we'll be announcing all of this on all of our social media properties, and we look forward to meeting some of you inside of our community. It was an honor to be here. Thank you, Christy.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye.